Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of From the Driver's Seat. I'm the rooftop shuffler, Little Joel Mearns. Right next to me here, my partner in crime, also the co-host of this episode is Carl Slingblade Reed. This is basically going to be a show. We're going to talk about the three local racetracks around the area. Of course, the Bethel Motor Speedway up there in White Lake, New York. It's a quarter-mile asphalt track. Along with the Accord Speedway, they like to call that the Ulster County Bull Ring. Of course, that's a quarter-mile dirt track. And then, of course, our very own 5/8 hard clay right here in Orange County, New York, of course, Middletown, New York. That's going to be the Orange County Fair Speedway. So before we start kicking things off here, I'm going to go ahead and turn things right over here to Mr. Reed. He's going to give you some of the results from the Bethel Motor Speedway.
Saturday night, Bethel Motor Speedway. Winning the four-cylinder novice feature was Robert Beach. The four-cylinder advanced feature was Walt Henry.
Now, before we get any farther, Walt Henry, the four-cylinder division was created up at the Bethel Motor Speedway for some of the drivers inexperienced. It's a low buck class. I know a lot of the guys, the most amount of money that they have in these cars are about $900, and that's just the cage, just a fuel cell, excuse me, and a racing seat, and that's all they're allowed to do. Now, Walt Henry, anybody who comes around to the Orange County Speedway, according even Accord as well, will know that Walt is he's one of the big guys as far as four-cylinder action goes with the enduros and stuff. The guy's no slouch, and it looks like he's doing pretty well up there.
Doing very well. Taking home the Bethel Motor Speedway Modified Division win was John Cody.
Also a defending track champion for that division as well.
Street Stock Division was Bobby Van Blarkum. Pro Stock was Ron Lane. Bandolero Division was Joseph Graff Jr.
Now with the Bandoleros, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bandoleros are pretty much anywhere, I believe the age is 5 years old and up is what the Bethel guys are allowed to run up there. So even some of the youngsters out there, and that's basically what it's all about, the sport. We want to get some of the younger kids out there as well.
Yep. So. In the Legends Division, the Young Lions Legend Division semi-pro was David Schilling. The Legends Pro Masters Division was Mike Alcaro. And taking home the Sportsman Division win was legendary Rich Coons.
Well, legendary maybe in his own mind. But, no, Richie's a good guy. Richie, he's a big-time racer here at the Orange County Fair Speedway, track champion, many, many wins. A couple of seasons ago when the Rockets were running the Bethel Motor Speedway, Richie Coons decided to go up there in their Sportsman Division, and they started it. The division was a little slow at first, but I'll tell you what, they've really come around, and these guys they're putting on one heck of a show up there. So just to give you a little bit of background on myself and Kenny, so that you guys don't think that we're out there and we're just talking about whatever and we don't know nothing. We are not grandstand racers. We are actual drivers ourselves. I spent many years in the pure stock ranks here at the Orange County Fair Speedway, track championship, multiple wins. Kenny's crashed a lot in hot laps. He's been in the way more than up front. No, I'm just kidding. He's actually, Kenny's got himself a pure stock as well, so obviously that's why we're calling it From the Driver's Seat. Of course, we are two drivers. Also used to be the announcer of the Accord Speedway, still one of the announcers down here in Orange County as well. So been around the sport a long time, so we somewhat know what we're talking about. We work hard on driving as well too. I don't know if that's going too well for myself this year, but we're making a good show.
Better than for me.
So. Okay, that takes care of the Bethel Motor Speedway, and of course that is a asphalt quarter-mile track up at White Lake, New York, and of course that's where I got my start, where I'm from. Grew up in Jeffersonville, and got my start up there in the six-cylinder division way back when it was called Sullivan County Speedway. Of course, that was Ed and Betty Woodruff. But for those of you who do come to the racetrack each and every Saturday night, you'll see the Bullfrog Jeremy Markle, and he's come a long way. That's where he started his career. So a lot of some big names have come out of Bethel Motor Speedway. So we're going to move right into Accord Speedway, and of course, we are a couple of weeks behind Accord right now in their second week of competition, and of course, picking up the the Arkell Motors Pure Stocks, of course, was Nick Johnson, newcomer to the Pure Stock ranks. And then the Rugies Parts Center Pro Stocks, Emerson Cargain Jr. picking up the win, of course, a former track champion in the Pro Stocks up there at Accord Speedway. Opening night, John Rose was the winner. Emerson wound up second. Moving into the Healy Brothers Group Spec Sportsman Division, of course, that's just a crate motor in the sportsman cars. The young gun, Tommy Johnson, picking up the win. I do believe Kenny Boniface was the opening night feature winner up there as well. Also picking up the Campers Barn Sportsman Division win this past Friday night. Kid Giddy Up. Of course, I think that was a nickname picked by our good friends Jerry Higbie, which Jerry will be on the show here in a little bit. But Anthony Prego picks up the win. And also former track champion, the Wild Child, Andy Bicchetti, picks up win number 2 in a row up at the Accord Speedway. And, of course, Accord located up there in the Ulster County area. Of course, Accord, New York, being run by Donna and Gary Palmer. And hopefully eventually sometime in the future here we'll get them on the show as well. But so the Wild Child really doing, I'll tell you, he's been struggling up there the past couple of seasons at the Accord Speedway, and he's really kind of got his stuff together. You know, I think that we can talk to Jerry a little bit about that because, of course, Friday night Jerry finished second to him, and see what it's like to be chasing around that black and green machine. So, but so that takes care of the results for Accord and the Bethel Motor Speedway, and also the four-cylinders as well. Gary Palmer has picked up the four-cylinder division. They're calling it the Upstate Limousine Village Drop Shot Fireball four-cylinders. Now, we talked before about Robert Beach. Beach also picked up the feature win Saturday night down at the Bethel Motor Speedway with his four-cylinder, but he also picked up the feature win in the four-cylinder division up at the Accord Speedway. So a lot of these guys doing some double-duty driving and stuff like that, and it's good to see. You know, it's good to see that it's a very affordable class. $900, you know, you can pretty much put a car together and go racing. Not allowed to do anything to the suspension, nothing to the motors, but I'm sure some of these guys are. But you know, that's the name of the game. That's how they get it done. So now we're going to move right on into the Orange County Fair Speedway. But before we even get started with that, Kenny, let's first of all thank Michael Gerda for the, I guess you could say, the accommodations of using one of the offices here for our studio here this weekend. And Michael, we want to thank you. We appreciate it. And basically, we're here to just support the 3 local racetracks here. It's you know, the divisions are starting to dwindle a little bit, and I know the cost of racing is very, very high. But any sponsors out there, you know, that are looking to sponsor a race car, I'll tell you what, you know, just give the Orange County Speedway a call, and we'll get you in touch with that driver. Unfortunately, we don't have any clips for you this week, but we are working on that. This is our first show, so hopefully, you know, you guys keep watching, and hopefully we do a well enough job. You know, we definitely need to work on the lighting because I can see the glare from my head here starting to wear off. So let's move on to the Orange County Speedway. We are in week number 3. Of course, week number 2 was a little bit shortened. We only got one feature event in, and of course the gentleman, Matt Burke, he's a pure stock driver. He was the only guy to pick up a feature win last weekend. Of course, it was rained out halfway through, but you know what? A win's a win. Picking up the opening night win, of course, was Chris Schultz in the Big Block Modifieds, along with the Sportsman Division. Defending division champion was Gary Edwards Jr. He picked up the win opening night, as well as last night at the, well, it would be Sunday, so for you guys it's Tuesday right now, so obviously this is pre-recorded. But Gary Edwards Jr. makes it 2 in a row in the Sportsman Division. The Pro Stocks opening night was Mike Dutka, defending track champion for that division. Yours truly did not finish. It really helps when you put cotter pins in the tie rod ends and they don't fall off that way. So we're just going to move on.
We're taking donations for cotter pins.
Donations for cotter pins because, man, we stink. But picking up the pure stock win opening night was Stephen Kammer, and as far as this past Saturday night, things not too good for Stephen. Went into turn 3, left front flat, and of course old Bluetooth, being you know, the guy that he is, decided to keep his foot in the gas and wound up on the business end of the tow truck. Also picking up the pure stock win last night. Well, actually, it's the street stock division now. Kevin Skelly, a former track champion from the Bethel Motor Speedway, an asphalt standout, and I'll tell you what, he really had to earn his money because the green machine, the snot car, I like to call it, Ronnie Constable, really starting to get his stuff together here.
You know, unfortunately, that late race caution came out, and I think if it hadn't, I think it would have been a very, very close finish to that one.
Kevin had a nice lead on the rest of the field there, and I'll tell you, Ronnie just came out of nowhere and just started to reel him in, and the guy has really gotten his stuff together, and it's unbelievable. One of the guys we got to talk about in that division real quick, good friends of ours, the Jalopy Jet, Charlie Donald. Two third place finishes. He is the defending champion for that division, and again, just consistency. And the big standout in that division has got to be Emerson Cargane Sr. missing in action. Had some surgery on the shoulder there over the winter, so unfortunately sitting out on that one. So then we move on to the Pro Stocks, where I believe it was which one was it? It was the short fuzzy one, right? Ron Nazaro. Was it Ronnie? Ron Nazaro Jr. picks up the Pro Stock win. Mikey Duca back there in spot number 2. And, of course, yours truly wound up 5th. That's only because 2 other guys crashed. But, yeah, we wound up finishing, so that was kind of nice. So then we move on to the big block modifieds. Okay, so 2 held over feature event early in the night, and I'll tell you, caution-filled. Nothing but wrecks. I do believe the judge, Johnny Lito, wound up with the win. And, of course, like we said, we will have the statesman Jerry Higbie on here and very shortly. But Jerry, a top 5, 3 top 5s that week, from Accord, running up there where he was a track champion here in Orange County. 2 top 5s that night. Picking up the second modified feature event win, I do believe was Christopher Whitehead in the Vernon Pools and Spas number 244 car. Pretty much led from start to finish. Now, I know a lot of drivers, a lot of the fans, when they come to Orange County, they complain about the no passing here at the Speedway. My opinion, I believe that there is passing. It's just the fact that everybody is on such an equal playing field now with the big block modifieds that it's just it makes it look like it's tough to pass out here. But I'll tell you, a great race for the big guys. Let's discuss a little bit about the new Spec Sportsman division down here at the Orange County Fair Speedway. Rookie crate motors, guys who've basically not been in an open wheel car before. The win ultimately went to Stephen Shortway. Great run, led the entire feature event, came down to the last lap there in turn number 3, and Tyler Dipple kind of gave him a little bit more love than I think was needed, and was penalized for it. Dipple did cross the line first, 15-year-old sensation, and feature went up at Accord Speedway last year, but unfortunately was penalized for over-aggression on the Speedway, and the win went to Stephen Shortway. First time ever in a open wheel car, Pro Stock standout. I'll tell you what, great family. I've raced with Tommy. His sister Susan up there in the stands, always cheering him on. You always know when you're doing something bad because you can hear Susan yelling at you from the grandstands. But a great job by Stephen.
Oh yeah. Good division. Yeah. It's good to see something like that starting up to, give people an opportunity to move up or get into racing. Actually, I heard a rumor that you might be possibly thinking about.
Well, you know what? We just found out the other day we got another one on the way, so we'll have to wait and see. You know what I mean? So another baby on the way. But definitely, unfortunately, the full fender division is starting to die around the area. It's tougher and tougher to get parts for the street stocks. The pro stocks, I believe, my opinion, they've kind of priced themselves out, and the guys are spending the same amount of money for a crate sportsman. And I think that seems to be the way to go, and we're definitely looking. We're definitely looking. So, how's your ride coming?
Well, I'm a little behind on my game this year, but I should have something in the works here in the next couple weeks, and hopefully I'll get out there a few times before the end of the year.
Well, I heard that the car was for sale, pure stock, and I also heard that Weinert's made you an offer of $175. So
I'm holding out for 180.
You know what? I can't say nothing because you know what? I did drive the car last year at Accord Speedway, and we did put it in the top 5 a couple times with Middletown gear, by the way. But I'll tell you what, it's we're looking forward to seeing you back out there. The only guy I know that's wrecked half the field in hot laps. So coming up here very shortly, right now, we will have the statesman Jerry Higbie here, and we're going to discuss with him a little bit about how his weekend went, running 2 tracks, Friday night, Saturday night, owning his own business, pretty much Higbie Fabrications, along with some of the great sponsors that he has on the side of the race car. So just a few short minutes here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring Jerry on. Now a track champion from the Accord Speedway, along with the Orange County Fair Speedway, the statesman Jerry Higbie. Jerry, first of all, thank you. This is the first show that we've done, and who else better to have on the show but the statesman.
Glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about this past weekend. Opening night at the Accord Speedway was a couple of weeks ago. You wound up with a fourth-place finish. Becchetti winds up getting the feature win. This past Friday night, you wind up second, and then you got the two held-over features here in Middletown. You got two more top fives. Opening night, Middletown, not so good. Wound up on the in the pit area before you wanted to. Not too shabby of a weekend.
Yeah, this weekend went really well. Friday night, actually, I got the lead pretty quick in the beginning at Accord, and I was legging Becchetti pretty good. A little past halfway, lap car turned down into me, tore the right side of my car off. Becchetti got by me. I don't know if he would have beat me or not. Would have been a good race. Yeah. But Becchetti's definitely fast. He's got it together up there. But all in all, a great weekend. You know, coming out of there second, and then last night at Middletown, or Saturday night at Middletown, getting to third and getting to fourth. You know, that puts a couple bucks in the bank and kind of redeems ourselves from opening night at Middletown when we had a pretty good wreck opening night.
Now, so let's talk about the new racing surface. Well, I wouldn't even call it the surface, but the new configuration of Accord Speedway. Of course, Gary Palmer always trying to make improvements on that place. Great place to go racing. He took about 2 feet off the top side. What does that do for as far as you guys go?
Well, you know, he did a lot this winter. You know, he made a rule saying that, you know, we can't run the high sail panels, so that's going to slow the cars down a little bit, not have to have as much engine as you did before. He's trying to save a little bit of money for the drivers and make it a little bit more competitive, a little more racy. Took a little bit of banking out, same thing. Make it, you know, a little less of a horsepower racetrack, make it a little bit more racy, and maybe attract some more cars that don't have a ton of motor and things like that. And I tell you what, to this point, it's worked out very, very well. I mean, I have a little small block that I run there opening night. Becchetti won with his little dirt legal small block, and you know, already it's proved to be a good thing. The racing has been excellent. It's slowed down almost a second from what it was. Hasn't been too bad on the tires, and you know, I'd say his dust problem is, I wouldn't say it's gone yet. We're only 2 weeks into it, but I know this past Friday night we really there was almost no dust up there to speak of, right. And you know, that's important. He has a tough time because the wind seems to blow right into the grandstand's face. So people, you know, they look at it and they say, "Boy, that place is dusty." But you know, as a racer, it's not dusty, right? And it's just, you know, if we could get the wind to blow a little bit different direction for the fans, it'd be a little bit easier.
I can remember talking to my good buddy there, Steve Patos. He's the head announcer up there, and Steve and Gary were talking quite a bit over the winter season, saying how the sail panels may be some of the cause of all that dust up there. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it certainly could be. I mean, you know, your sail panels are making a lot of drag, and they're moving a lot of wind. I mean, anybody that's, you know, just stay in the back of a pickup truck, go 60 miles an hour down the road and hold up a piece of plywood. That's essentially what you're doing. So anybody that says that, you know, it's not going to affect the dust, I think is wrong. You know, when you're making the cars faster and you're turning into the corner of that big sail, you're going to be swirling around a lot more dirt.
Now let's also discuss, there's different motor combinations that you guys can run up there, as far as you can either have the big block modified, or you can also have a 358 modified. Now we've seen success with both motor packages. What do you think is the better motor to use on such a short track?
Well, you know, I ran a big block there with my own car last year, and I was very competitive and went really, really well. I know Mike Ruggiero runs a big block up there and he goes well. Uric has been on and off with a big block, runs well. Rich Ricky has run a big block on and off, and he's been pretty well with it. Other guys are running alcohol small blocks. Other guys are running, you know, 358s. Other guys are running big small blocks. And the cool thing is everybody has to weigh the same, and the track has so much parity in it, it just doesn't matter what you run. So I think that, you know, as a fan in the stands, or even as a racer, if I don't know what's under the hood of some of these guys' cars by watching it, I can't even tell.
Right.
But I think right now, I think a little smaller motor has the edge. The track's a little bit slick, and I don't think you need a ton of motor. I think the big block's tough to race up there right now. So I think the small block probably has a little bit of an advantage.
Good deal. Let's discuss a little bit about Orange County. Of course, Michael Gerda laying down some new clay here this year. What's some of your thoughts on the new surface? And then we're also going to talk about this new handicapping system as well. But some of your thoughts on the new surface.
I think right now, probably the weather has the biggest thing right now. Being so dry, so windy, so sunny, the track has been pretty dry. You know, last week when it rained out, I think that feature was going to be excellent because they had the track really good and wet for early in the night, and it started drying off. You know, it's tough at Middletown because we're starting racing early in the day. Right. I mean, the sun is blazing when we start hot laps, and it's blazing for the heat races, and it dries the track up. I mean, let's face it, we're racing on a dirt track, we're racing in the sun. We got almost 900 horsepower big blocks and stuff out there now, and we're just tearing the place up. So it's tough. So no matter almost what you do, the place is going to dry up. It's going to sometimes take a little rubber. It's going to get black, you know. But all in all, I think it's been pretty good.
Throughout the night, how many changes do you guys have to make with the car because of the fact that you start, so early in the evening with the sun beating down, and of course, the beginning of the season here, everything starts to cool down. How many changes you guys have to do in the race car?
Well,
throughout the night?
Talking about like with the new handicapping and things like that, which we're going to get into, your heat races actually mean a little bit more now for your starting position in the main. So you really want to race the heat race and be as good as you can in the heat. No more, no more can you just get in the show and then start according to your money points. You're racing your way. The better you do in your heat, the further ahead you're starting in the feature. So you have to hit the ground in the heat race and really be fast. So sometimes you got to make a 180-degree change from the heat race to the feature to keep your car good.
Now, something that we don't normally see from you guys is the fact that seeing you in a consolation race, and that's what we saw. We saw a bunch of heavy hitters in the consi opening night. Yourself, Richie Urich, a lot of big names in the consi.
Yeah, I tell you what, Tim McCready was down, for opening night and or the second night, and he ended up in the consi. The place is it's really fast. We got a lot of parity. Same thing. A lot of guys have some big motors. They have good chassis, good shocks. Everybody has good packages to go down there and run fast. And now running the same tires, same things. There's going to be a lot of parity, and it is tough to pass because everybody's fast. Last night or Saturday night, I ran fourth, basically flat out the whole race, and was barely keeping with Mike Kolka.
Right.
So there's a lot of parity there. It's tough.
Now, speaking of the new chassis, you're actually building some stuff.
Yeah, we
now.
stepped out, last year and decided we wanted to make our own product. And at first I just wanted to build them for myself, just so I had something different. I have a full-fledged fabrication shop which can build anything, and decided,
located where?
Right in Goshen, 4 miles from here, from where we're sitting in Middletown. And I said, let's just build one for us. Why have something that's store-bought, and let's do something on our own. And then all of a sudden, Jackie Brown says, boy, you know what, the first one you make outside this, I want it. So 1 became 2. And then next thing we knew, 2 became 4, and now 4 became 8, and now 8's becoming 12. So
working out very well.
It's working out well, and right now in Middletown, Jesse Klein has one, Jackie Brown has one, and Jesse Klein has 3 top 10s already in the first 3 features. So he's really elated with his car. Jackie Brown likes his car a lot, and the phone's ringing off the hook. We're getting orders.
Good deal.
And
yeah, we've discussed a couple of things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going well.
Now let's quickly touch on the handicap system. Of course, it's a totally new system for you guys. Some of your feelings on that?
Well, you know what? I'm open for anything. The way it's been, it has become so predictable. You know what's going to happen and things like that. So I like that there's a shakeup, and I like that sometimes going into night, you don't know where guys are going to start. You don't know who's going to be where. The old system of having the money points and the guys that hadn't earned a lot of points were going to be up front. You knew that going into the night. You knew all the setups. Now when you come into Saturday night, like this Saturday night, you have no idea who your top 10 feature starters are going to be at Middletown.
Right.
And I like that.
Right.
And so far there has been a lot of shakeup in the top 10s. I mean, opening night, Chris Schultz and Storms, those guys were fast. They ended up qualifying up front, and off they went. And then all of a sudden, for that held over, Lito's fast, Ruggiero's fast. These guys are fast. They're up front, and off they go. And then, the last feature, a couple different guys. Whitehead and these guys got fast, and they were up front. So far, I think it's making a good showing for itself.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the sponsors on the side of your car. Also, what you guys have going on throughout the 2012 season.
Yeah, I tell you what, for my my Higbie racing cars, my '97, I'm very lucky. I have a lot of support. I have an insurance company right here in Middletown. It's the Hutchings Agency. They've been with us for I guess this is our 4th year now, and they've been a big supporter. So anybody that's looking into getting insurance, any kind, give Doug Hutchings a call right in Middletown.
Kenny needs some insurance.
We all need it. Mr. K's Carpet Service, who's a carpet cleaner here in Goshen, New York. He's been with us, I guess, with my dad and everybody, with our team for 30 years.
Right.
So it's been a very, very long time. Precision Engines does our engine stuff, and we have a ton of support with us. I mean, SKJ Towing do all our paint work. I mean, we have a ton of names on our cars, and we're fortunate to have them. Beaverkill Trout Hatchery, the guys that I've driven for in the past. Jimmy Winchell helps us up to Accord. Dale Shaver, who's been a longtime supporter. I drove the 47 for. He supports us. My Uncle Nick, my Aunt Buffy, they're silent partners with us in racing all the time. We have so many people that reach out to us to help keep our program going and to keep it on top. We're very lucky.
Good deal. Now, Kenny had done a little bit of research, and we heard through the grapevine. Looks like you're going to be piloting a car for who's he driving for?
Gary Mann.
For Gary Mann, yeah. And there again, New York Truck Parts. He came aboard and wanted to buy a car, and he's interested in the chassis and stuff like that. And Gary was he's been a racer for 20, 30 years, and he came in and said, hey, let's get your cars going. Let's see what we can do. I got, might put Mitch Gibbs in it. I might look at getting Danny Johnson in it. I might look at doing this and that. And he wasn't really sure.
And you and Danny are such great friends.
He knew he knew he wanted a car. And, it's funny, as a racer, not a Danny Johnson fan at all. But you know what? As a car builder,
right?
I don't think how could I not want Danny Johnson in my car?
No,
and you know what? If I was going out on a racetrack tonight and go elbow to elbow with anybody, I would go with Danny. Danny's a good racer.
What are your plans with Gary Mann? Or I read somewhere you're going to run the ROC series, some end of year races. You plan on going to Syracuse with it?
Well, with Gary Mann's car, basically what we did was we got building it, and we did the frame, we did the body, brought some parts down, and now it's totally a done car. It's about 3/4 of it's brand new. Some of it's used parts, but we got about 3/4 of the way done. He says, "Hey, how about you drive my car?" So I said, "You know what? I'd love to. Let's we'll pick some races out." So he brought down the ROC schedule. Says, "Hey, let's run these." So it looks like we're going to run. For now, we're going to start running all the ROC events. Mm-hmm. So there'll be some at Utica Rome, there'll be some Penn Can, 5 Mile Point, things like that. And then after that, we'll see what happens. He built a brand new engine. He has a trailer on the way, and now we're getting ready to start building his second car, which is going to be a brand new car from top to bottom, HFC car, and I'm excited for it. So we'll see what happens. And I know Mitch Gibbs is going to run his car a couple times this year, so we'll get some good feedback from that. And
awesome.
I'm happy to have New York truck parts behind me.
Now I got to ask you, what is you've been around racing, oh gosh, probably over 20 years, your entire life, such as myself. What is the biggest highlight in your career so far? What was the biggest thing that's happened to you?
Winning championships has been big because you keep those forever. Some of the big races that we won, Eastern State's big block, Eastern State's small block race we've won.
Which was history making, by the way, because I do believe you were the third driver with the same owner that won.
Yeah, we won
Eastern
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Danny, Jeff Petzer did it.
Johnson,
Danny Johnson and me in the same car.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And the fourth year I didn't win it for him.
Yeah.
Ended up fourth. So that winter, that was it for me. That was my last ride in that one.
We'll actually we'll have the person on next week. We're going to discuss that. Maybe some of those situations. A very controversial finish with that one, with that Eastern States 200.
Tough deal.
Yeah, it was definitely a.
I've had a lot of highlights. I tell you, I've been very, very fortunate. I've driven for a lot of good people. Had a lot of good people around me. So I've been.
Now you also have the younger version of Mr. Higbie here. You've got him in a slingshot. Why don't you talk about a little bit about that?
Well, about a year and a half ago, my son is turning, Cody. He's just turned 8 yesterday, and he's been interested.
Happy birthday, Cody.
He's been interested in going racing. So we talked about it a little bit, and I found a slingshot that would be affordable for us, and basically revamped it from the front to the back. And he's just a little guy. He's 55 pounds. So
now we're starting to see that more and more because I do believe Chris Schultz's son is also in a slingshot.
Little Matty is awesome. Schultz, he's awesome in the slingshot, and a lot of Henschel's kids running slingshots, and
also,
seems to be a good start.
John Libby as well.
Yep, John Libby. Their slingshots are taking over, kind of where the go-karts were when we were kids, and they have roll cages on them, seat belts in them, and I just feel so much safer for the children being in them. And it's a car that he can have until he's 15, 16, 17 years old. He can keep racing it if he wants.
Awesome.
They just keep getting bigger seats and backing them up. So,
right.
It's a great class of racing. Seems to be affordable. And hopefully this year we'll get out and do some running.
And that's the name of the game. We definitely need some more stars of tomorrow. As I hit on earlier, the racing world is really starting to take a big hit, with the way the economy is and everything. But a lot more affordable racing, we're trying to get to the spec engines and all that stuff. Do you see the spec motors starting to phase themselves into the big blocks?
I don't know so much about the big blocks. The big blocks still seem like they have a pretty good weight where they are. But I do see 2 classes of racing forming with the big blocks and then the crates, which I think is excellent because the crates have become so much more affordable. And now with Middletown having a rookie crate class and being able to take, there's a lot of 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids that are starting to race that, and they're our future of the sport.
Right.
What I'm seeing with the Dipples and now the Rumsey kids racing, and it's just giving so many more people an opportunity to get out there and race. I think the crates are really going to take off and do things that the 358 classes and other classes haven't been able to do in the last few years.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us with the statesman, Jerry Higbie. Jerry, again, I guess that's why Steve Pazos calls you the statesman, because you're always out there politicking for the sport of racing. We do appreciate you being on here. This is our first show, and hopefully we can continue this, and nobody's going to sue us along the way. And I'll tell you what, it's awesome having you here. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's good to be here. I'm looking forward to your show. It's going to be excellent.
Thank you.
Awesome. The statesman, Jerry Higbie, multi-track champion, along with a ton of feature wins. So that's going to do it for Jerry. Jerry Higbie, the statesman, for coming on here with us. Next week we will have Mike Sancelli's suitcase, the race director of the Orange County Fair Speedway. He'll be here with us. And so we're going to quickly talk about some of the events coming up here in the next week or so.
Next Saturday night, 6:30, Orange County Fair Speedway. I believe the Rookie Sportsman, Pure Stock, Pro Stock, and Modifieds.
I don't think the Pro Stocks are there. I could be wrong. Anyway, also Bethel Motor Speedway next Saturday night. Of course, the Bandoleros, BMS Modified, Sportsman, Pro Stocks, Street Stocks, 4 cylinders. Then, of course, Friday night, the Accord Speedway with their Street Stocks, or Pure Stocks, Pro Stocks, Spec Sportsman, and their Big Block Modifieds. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to have some 4 cylinders as well. So also keep in mind, May 19th, right here at the Orange County Fair Speedway, the one of the greatest shows on dirt. That's the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Of course, if you are looking for tickets or anything like that, please contact the Orange County Fair Speedway. I do believe the number is 845-342-2573. And we want to thank you all for watching here. And this is episode number 1, so hopefully we can continue to do this. So thanks again for watching.